Hi, good evening, and welcome to this little check-in with you. I was going through some meetings today. My name is Joe Dutkiewicz. For those who don't know me, uh, I'm here to look through and share some of the things that are going on in my life, share the things that may be useful to you in your family, in your workplace, uh, to really focus in on how to develop yourself, how to grow. What are the things, pitfalls along the way that you may encounter, and some of the solutions, some of the things I found to work in my life, some of the things I learned from people who are living life through different perspectives, and some of their thoughts that uh, come into play. Big reader, so every month there's at least one book in my library that I'm reading to learn from others, learn the stories, understand them, see how they can apply, how it can make my life more effective. How can I help you? And that's what I do to help others in clients and those that I coach, those that I mentor, those that I lead through roundtables and workshops and seminars and such. So just wanted to share something with you today. I was going through several other things in my agenda. There were many calls. One was, as you might know, if you know me, uh, I have uh, been certified team member through the John Maxwell team to teach some of John Maxwell's materials, but to learn, more importantly, to learn from him the lessons and to share how those impact my life uh, and those around me that I know. Uh, One of the uh, things we're on the docket today was talking about a branding change, a focus differential in the business. I'll get to that in a minute. But if you're watching, say hi, drop in a comment. I'd love to just recognize you, to find out what's going on in your world. If are you, the question for today is, are you living in the past? Are you living with the past? Are you bringing the past with you every day? And I think that's one of the challenges that we get caught up in, and some of the leaders that we deal with, some of the people that you have to report to or accountable to, some of the people that oversee your work in the workplace, are all looking with a certain perspective. And if they're a good, effective leader, they're always thinking ahead, but they're making sure they don't leave anybody behind. One of the things, as I was saying, there's a branding change only because the focus has changed. John Maxwell team has been around for over 10 years, and that is part of the bigger enterprise of John Maxwell Company. John Maxwell Enterprises is the whole umbrella. But they did a survey with 1,000 people from various walks of life who get their leadership perspective, development, skill building through various means. They could be in a workshop, they could be from reading a book, they could be in multiple ways of maybe being mentored by somebody. And that survey came back and it was interesting. 90%, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but 90% identify the John Maxwell Company with John Maxwell. So everything that the John Maxwell team was doing was really related back to John Maxwell. That's how people looked at it. And yet there's more than one person in any organization that leads, is fundamental to the ongoing work of the organization to deliver, in essence, a legacy of certain cultural values, a certain culture, to service customers in a certain way, to deliver products and services to help people, in this case, with leadership development. Then they have changed over now to this one umbrella, one perspective, because they wanted to move from founder basis to really organization basis, to this legacy perspective. It's not the founder, it's the foundation. It's a launching point of many thought leaders within the organization coaches and such to carry this message out for the next 50, 75 years. John Maxwell's been around for 75 years. Over 45 of that has been a student of leadership. So, he's been heavily focused on leadership and helping people across the world, millions of people across the world, develop, to grow, to help them on their journey. One of the things I think about is, well, what does that mean? So from my background, I have change management in my core. We're always evolving. One of the things I always looked at is, why are we carrying the past? Why are we doing the same things day after day? And maybe you can relate to that in your organization, to the things that you do. And it just is interesting. Excuse me for just kind of being here, but just one of the things that I am the past, Eric. Hi, Eric. You are the past. So Eric, brings a little laughter to that, but sometimes we are the past. We are the culmination of all experiences. And yesterday I was talking about how if we went back to day one and looked at ourselves then, if we could remember what we looked like and what we had known at that point compared to what we are today, you could say, oh, look at all the gains I made. This all the things that happened. Here's all my experiences that have happened in my life. And that's great. If we look at the gains, that's great. It's when we look at the gap, when we look at, here I am today, and I have this dream, or I have that dream that I put on the shelf, or I'm not going to get to the dream. I'm recognizing I'm just stuck. A lot of people in organizations around the world are stuck. They feel trapped, and it's because they're looking where they're at to where they want to be, but they haven't recognized how far they've come. Let me say that again. They're looking at from where they're at to where they want to be, recognizing a shortfall. And by that account, we all shortfall our ideals, but they forget how far they've come. So if I look back 90 days, or I look back 5 years, I look back 10 years, my life was much different. I've helped many more people in the last 10 years than I did the first 40, the first 50. Because I've grown, I've developed myself, I've worked with more people that are growth minded, that are leadership focused, that are willing on this journey, they're wanting to be part of this journey to grow. And I'm reminded of this in the call I just came off of with Maxwell Leadership, and how that decision process was put together, and what they are taking into account, how they're rolling this out, and how they're thinking about it. And I just happen to be reading this book. It's called Leading in Tough Times by John Maxwell. Surprise, surprise. But in there is chapter 7, and it says the kind of decisions we will face in a decision-making challenge. So whether it's branding of your organization, whether it's just the day-to-day and how you need to evolve. We're in a changing world that's moving faster and faster. And are we keeping up, or are we tied to the legacy, to the old stuff, the old patterns, the old processes? And we never stop and say, why are we doing this? There are mentions in large organizations about re-examining or restructuring how they're doing certain things, because it no longer makes sense in today's environment. Some of those decisions aren't well executed upon, but there's always this view that today we're talking about NFTs, we're talking about AI and beyond, right? AI is already kind of here, but organizations I was helping mentor their staff were focused in on changing to AI. And what does that mean? How does that change how we code? What partnerships we need to bring in? There's a good amount of change decisions that impact us. And well, as I looked at it, and I think about this, and I don't know if you've thought about this, but what does the change look like, and how are you going about the decisions to bring that change apart? There was the old Dogbert cartoon that said, change, you go first. It was the essence. I'm paraphrasing here, but in essence, everybody wants change, but nobody wants to go through the change. They want somebody else to go through the change first, and then they'll be reluctantly dragged along. Just look at our phones, right? How many people are still using flip phones without any real internet access? There's still some, probably, but their numbers are getting down because they're no longer supported by the cell service. We're forced to get to the next phone or something technology wise, like what we're doing here. We used to just be on a conference call, and everybody would get on conference calls, or we would get into internet forums and just sit there on a dial-up and talk and post things and such. So the world has changed, right? But the kind of decisions we face. So I'm just going to take these few items, and I think these are great pillars to think about when we're making decisions, courageous decisions. So, what must be done? So if we look at this branding change, and I'm not integral to the whole change, I'm the outsider, but I'm part of the organization from a certification perspective. But I'm not there in the corporate office making the decisions or being called upon, right? But I'm looking at it from a change management perspective. But what must be done? So if we have to decide that, hey, we're no longer, it's great to be with the founder, but the founder is only going to be here for so long, and isn't the voice of the founder only. This last 10 years has been because of a greater group of people coming together alongside John Maxwell, along others that brought the organization together over these years. It's a widening group of people. When I joined the John Maxwell team, there was like 2,000 people, 2,000 coaches, not to mention the other organizations part of the enterprise. But now there's over 43,000 coaches, and they're on their way to 100,000 coaches. So, and I'm not trying to speak up for the organization, but I'm saying we're changing, and we have to look at it differently. What's the next 50 years? So there's a courageous decision to change from founder to foundation, to go from founder to a wider base of, from here we launch. This is from our launching point, and they'll know us by the name, of what we do going forward. So what's that decision that you can make that's sometimes scary? Yeah, Eric, leaders change first. Absolutely. So, sometimes we, and not only leaders in the position, but leaders within the organization, those that step up to say, I can make an change here. I can make an influence. I have an insight to the vision, or I understand how I play into it, and I have people around me that work with me to deliver on that particular part of the vision of our department, of our division, of our vertical, whatever, however the organization is structured. A second pillar would be priority decisions. What must be done first? So besides the decision to make a change, what are the first things that you have to do? What are the first things that are involved in this decision? And, for instance, change management, when I was going through a change at work, and we're really looking at this big initiative that would require change across the organization. It was quite large and quite intensive. But what's the first things we got to do? Well, we got to get our hands around are we being called to do? And what does it look like? So we start thinking about what's the future, and where do we have to go, and uh, what's going to be involved to get there. So we need to bring together those things, change decisions themselves. Pillar 3, what must be done differently? So now, not only do you have the people, and you're thinking about the process of thinking about the end attempt, where you're going, but you're also thinking about what's going to be changed today, what are between now and then, between now and the due date, between now and the delivery date, what has to be changed. So looking back at some of my tasks or some of the processes that I was involved in and projects, small and big, what were the things that need to be changed, and what are the steps, and how will they impact the process, the path, what is the expectations, what do we need to address on the way? So what needs to be decided to help change deliver. And then creative decisions, so that's pillar 4, what might be possible. So sometimes we just think about, okay, this is what we got to do, but now that we're going back and looking at the particular pieces, what could be potential options to help improve or to make a better deliverable at the far end? And then fourth is people, or fifth is people. So we have, courageous decisions, the priority decisions, the change decisions, the creative decisions, but we also have people decisions. And that's in this book, it's talking about who should and should not be involved, because you don't want everyone involved. It'll be too many voices, right? Who are the key people to help the planning process kick off? Who are the key people along the way that are going to need to be brought in and weigh in on their particular pieces, so that you build a consensus, or you build a plan that has a good buy-in, but everybody doesn't need to be in on the decision to change, and doesn't need to be on the decision of who's going to be involved. Some of those things will be edited or changed along the way, change. But sometimes then there's one other piece in that. It's not only who should and shouldn't be involved, but it should be who is going to be impacted, and do they already understand? Do they already buy in, or are there certain obstacles to their buying in, to their understanding of why are we doing this? One of the big change I was talking about impacted the whole organization, and there were a lot of people that said, "Oh, we've had so much change. I don't want. No, we can't do this. No, we can't do this." Well, when you have an item that you have to do, there is no ifs, ands, or buts. It has to be delivered. How we get there is still yet to be determined, but we have to address the people's blocks. What are they going to block? Why are they going to block it? How do we help them understand why we're doing this? So some of it involves talking to people and saying, this is the change. This is your part in the change, perhaps, or this is what you do today. Nothing's really going to change for you particularly. So you're okay, but we need to help this other group perform better. Or, one of the steps that we're going to do is help them, XYZ, check it off, right? So help them understand how they play a role in this big change initiative. And so as we look at this branding, as I was listening to the call today, I can see each of these pillars coming through and saying, hey, you being certified team members, you're not being pushed aside. In fact, we want to grow with you. We want to equip you, and we want to grow with you. We don't want to grow at the expense of you, so we don't want to take from you. Sure, there'll be some other opportunities that you may want to invest in, but we're growing this with you. We want to give you what you need to grow, to have success as independent coaches, as team members. And there's, things that we can then deliver to our clients to organizations and such to help them be even more effective in leadership. For instance, in your organization, it's going to be something different, but it's going to be, how do we better deliver? If you have leaders that are more effective in leading forward, you're going to have a better perspective. And sometimes we're still living in the past, and leaders don't let go. Some ineffective leaders are not letting go of the past, or they're not helping the organization move forward because they're not saying, we don't need this part anymore. If you look at some of the more progressive organizations in building a culture and setting up an organization to serve, go to Costco, there's, or, Lowe's, or, some of these brands that you can see what's going on, right? You can see the retail, what's going on, and you can see what's written up and how things change in the organization. You go into the store, you'll see things change, right? But it's a better, every time, in essence, it leads to a better experience for the customer. Some of the things we carried before for 10 years, nobody ever bought. But why should we carry it just because we carried it? And nobody bought it, but everybody's, you could see messages in the newspaper or in the online internet articles about, oh, so Costco is not carrying this anymore. It's like, well, good for them. They determined they're not making any, it's not a solution, or it's not a need for the customers. Why carry it? And that's why we keep seeing changes on our grocery shelves. We see changes in the services that we get, and how they're delivered. And, we see through this COVID period, through the last 2 years, we've seen more online and people working more online. And then now that the organizations are saying, well, it's time to come back to work, time to come back to the office, to the in-person. There's a good group of people. So going back to this decision, this is one of these decisions. How you're telling people that they can come back, or why are they coming back? Why is this no longer okay to do from home, from wherever they're at remotely, but now they got to come back in the office, or now they got to come back 3 days a week, and they have to upset their plans once again. Upset their schedules. So change management is an important aspect. But if leaders aren't thinking about forward and thinking about how do we serve in the future, and carving that path out, carving a vision for that path, and bringing the right people in, making the right decisions, and thinking through these particular pillars of being courageous, sometimes it's not a very comfortable position. Courageous requires bravery. It requires stepping out. It's taking a calculated risk that this is the right way to go. Being creative, just making sure that the decisions reflect change for the positive, right? And just being there for the people and helping them come along and understand this. So in your life, you can translate this into your workplace. You can translate this into your family life. When you're making a change, or something's going on in a different, what are the decisions you're making? And if you did something way before and you're still doing it, and there's no reason you're doing it anymore, or it doesn't get you any further as a family together or as an organization together, perhaps it's time to make the courageous decision to let go of the past, recognize it, support it. This is what got us here, right? 10 years of coaching through the John Maxwell team got me here, got me to, and it's been great in my progress, but I can't live off of that. I have to live for today, recognize the gains that I have, but also keep my eye forward to say, where am I going and how can I best deliver what I do and how I help people even more effectively than I have in the past. So just a thought as I was listening through the day and reading some other things along the way, just thinking into how I can help you. And if there's something I can do for you, just feel free to drop in. And I better check here. Yeah, so Lisa says leaders must let go of the past to blaze the path forward. Then we can grow together. Let's focus on the possibilities. What do we have now? What can we work toward for the greater good of one another? Yeah, absolutely. So those are great things, right? How can we work toward for the greater good? How can we deliver something even more effectively? We can reach and serve people better than what we've done before. Are we thinking outwardly as to the people we serve while thinking inwardly on how much we've grown, how much we are delivering growth in ourselves? Are we evolving ourselves to be able to help others grow faster? Are the services we provide still effective for that plan we have ahead to serve the next 50 years, the next 75 years? Maybe it's only in the next 5 years. But if we don't work on it now, when we get 5 years from now, right, what's going to look like? You could have served better. So that's thoughts for today. If drop a note, feel free. Thanks for weighing in. If you see this on replay and you get to this point, drop in #replay. Check out, these videos are posted on YouTube as well, so you can check out my YouTube channel. And remember, the book is out, Voices for Leadership. I have a chapter in there on empathy, where I detail some immediate steps you can take to be more empathetic with the people that you work with, the people you live with, the people you come into contact with, how to be better as a leader and lead with empathy. Well, take care for now. We'll see you tomorrow.